10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fast record.
We are
The Chrome Ozone Project.
It's going down.
Mm.
What is happening?
This pineapple is delightful.
This is some thick-o pineapple.
Thicko.
Thicko!
So,
Thicko.
I'm Jared. How's it going?
I'm thicko. No, I'm Justin. What's going on?
And this podcast is sponsored by no one,
Nobody.
because
If you-
we're at the second episode. And
But
nobody
hey,
else
if you want to sponsor it,
give us money.
holla back. I don't say things like that, but, you know.
We could exchange favors, but let's not get the cops in on this, please.
Please.
So Justin, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Got this canned pineapple chunks and
It's
some
delicious.
root beer.
It's delicious.
It's
It was
it's
a
a
good
nice
day.
snack.
Yeah,
It's
it was good.
refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the windows open.
Yeah.
Something springy and shit.
Just got here from church. Church was fun.
I guess.
Usually how it goes down at church is that it's a very small church. I'm not going to say the name, doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
But it's a real small church, and most of the time when I'm there, see, I have my two daughters, my oldest one, who's 5, and the youngest is 2, almost 3.
Mhm.
And what happens is, the older one, she can sit, listen to the message and everything like that. The youngest one, she has like no respect for anybody. So it'll be like in the middle of,
Toddlers are jerks.
I know, they're such jerks, and she'll scream and freak out like in the middle of like while they're singing praise and worship songs. So I have to like, yeah. So she's like, like freaks out like, for no reason. So I got to take her like into like
I disagree with this.
yeah, she just freaks out like no respect for God.
Yo, like goddamn. Yeah.
So I take her outside, which is like, I'd say it's like the lobby / like food court area thing. So I took her out there and we're playing with dominoes because whatever keeps her mind occupied.
Oh, he says food court because it's a comedy club that's turned into.
It was an old comedy club turned into a church.
Yes,
But
so
anyways.
they have like a little bar.
They got like a coffee shop setting.
So proceed, domino.
Anyway, so we're out there playing dominoes, and if you kind of go to a small church, there's always that one kid that the parent never watches. Like there's that one parent that never watches their kid. So this kid's like pouring his own coffee.
There's another kid. So there's a kid just out there.
Yeah, he just wanders around however he wants, and the mom doesn't watch the kid.
Nice, delightful.
And so the kid like pours his own coffee and like he
Does he have a
fills up his
preference?
plate full, like he counts out his age in handfuls of chips. So he'll take bites of donuts and just put it back, you know? He's that kid.
And 23.
Yeah.
All right.
So he's got like a plate full of chips and it's like, hey, what are y'all doing? And
How
we're
old
like,
is this kid?
this kid's like 6 or 7. And he's so active. Like he's, like I said, he drinks coffee. Like the mom she doesn't even know.
He's
So he
like-
goes out there he makes his own hot chocolate, but he like puts way too much water, and then he tries to put the powder on top.
Oh, so he fills it up to like the
yeah,
top,
to the top.
and he doesn't get the whole like cocoa,
Yeah.
the whole density that
Yeah.
it's pushed.
So it just pushes it up
Okay,
and he's like
never
stirring it
understood
and he just goes all over the place. Anyways, so he's like sitting there and me and my daughter are having like a nice setting where we're sitting there just kind of stacking up the dominoes, and she's kind of learning to stack stuff, you know. And this kid comes up and kind of stacks up his own, and then he'll take the dominoes and go, and he like rolls it or uses like one of those like tabletop hockey things, and he'll just go like right across, and he'll knock down the entire tower of his own like he doesn't mess with my daughter's dominoes, but he's got his own. And and it'll like hit it, and it'll just fall down and make a very loud noise in the back, and I'm just like,
does he like laugh afterwards? Like,
yeah, he's like, destruction, and like, so
I've had so much coffee.
I've had so much coffee, and I'm tingling.
Do you think by the time he's like a teenager, he's gonna be very fluent in coffee? He's like the undertones of
he just
floral arrangements.
He like takes it and he just kind of sloshes around in his mug,
smells
and
it,
sniffs it.
He's like, well, it all started when I was a wee lad.
When I was a wee lad, yes.
And my mother would never watch me, and I would go and I would steal the church coffee.
Yes.
It wasn't good, not like this.
Not like this perfection.
But it's what started me on the road to the coffee nirvana. Yeah, and then he just starts talking like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He's like, coffee.
Oh man, so what did you think of all the tornado stuff earlier this week? Were you enjoying that?
It was havoc. Were you at school when it happened?
We worked the same
I know, that's what I'm
shift.
saying. Like we're like,
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is that when we were doing it, they're like, you got to come downstairs and take shelter. And like, I know when we were growing up, like, Mom would force us to take shelter, but we really didn't want to.
No.
Like, I knew, like,
Let's go outside.
like everybody's all like, you know, if you hear it sounds like a train's coming and you see a lot of wind. Yeah.
Oh no! Oh, all aboard! Ah!
Yeah.
Help!
Ah! Just run downstairs. But no, like, I mean, I understand you got to take shelter and stuff, but it's just, it's annoying because it's like, dude, you're getting into my work time.
I know, like, where's this coming from? What am I gonna have to cut
right.
to do this?
Exactly. So.
Oh, believe me, I was with you on that because we both work as school custodians. We won't say for what school or what district, but we're custodians. I work at an elementary school.
I work in a middle school.
And so we had we were getting tornado warnings, and the principal was there with his I think it was a baseball team, there was a football team, and we also had a Girl Scout group meeting there as well, which was I was like, great, because you know, having to clean up after people like running around and just the sheer noise. And the principal heard about it, and he's like, all right, well, you know, we're going to ask people if they want to leave. And he told the football team that they decided to go home early that way they can get home before the morning start. Baseball team did the same thing. They went and they talked to the Girl Scout group leader, and I was like kind of watching, and she said something to him, and he kind of did the shrug and kind of turned the head like, well, and then turned around, walked away. I was like, they're going to be here, aren't they? And I'm like, great. All right, there's two of us. Since it's an elementary school, there's two custodians, me and a slightly older gentleman, and so it's just two of us.
Right.
If the school was empty, it was just us two, no problem, whatever.
Right.
But now we have Girl Scouts and Girl Scout leaders who are moms.
Yeah.
And so now we have them on our hands.
Right, yeah, you gotta deal with that. Yeah.
So if anything happens, guess what? I mean, like, you know, we're in, you know, we feel obligated. And so I'm like, great. So I'm like worrying about all this. And I come back out, and then a miraculous thing happened. There's two scout dads who just so happened to be there, and I saw them. Kind of nodded. I'm like, hey, what's up? They thought I was basically nodding to say what's up, basically. But I was actually nodding to say, it's on you, it's not me.
Yeah.
But then I realized
you're in charge
something.
of this group now.
If I'm not in charge of their safety,
yeah,
then if this was a movie, I would be the guy who's like I'm just the random custodian,
Yeah.
like a glorified extra.
Yeah.
So the tornado would hit, and I would be the guy who runs in like, it's coming!
Here it comes!
And it would come, and then it would pull me out, of course, and I'm like, whoa! It's coming, whoa! And then I would die immediately while the women and children and the two dads live.
See, that day we had
Whoa!
we had an award ceremony. It was Junior Honor Society going on, and like all of us were like, they should probably cancel this because like throughout the week we were like having to prepare because we got to like set up the chairs, get all the tables set up, get the band ready, and all this other junk, and we're like, they should just cancel it. We know that there's a storm coming. We know all this stuff. Can they just cancel it? And they're like, no, we're not going to cancel it. We'll just, weather permitted.
Weather permitted.
And so we go, because we have to, like, stop halfway through our shift and go and set everything up in the gymnasium. So we ended up, like, having to stop, set everything up in the gymnasium, get everything all nice and pretty, and put all the chairs in a row and make sure they're perfect and not too much room or not too little room but not too much and everything like that. And so we get back up to our runs and everything starts, and then all of a sudden, like in the middle of our lunch, as we're sitting there eating and talking, the award ceremony's going on, and then the tornado sirens start going off. And so my manager, he gets on the walkie-talkie and he's like, hey, the sirens are going off. Like, he's freaking out, telling the principal. And then the principal, of course, gets on and has absolutely no, like, depth to her, from her mouth to the walkie-talkie. So it's like, like like into it, like it's like,
so
like
she
it's
doesn't know you have to hold it like a couple
right.
inches away.
So it's like the teacher talking in the Charlie Brown episode, plus add distortion to her voice. So,
and freaking out.
Yeah, and
on a
freaking out. Yeah.
walkie-talkie.
And so now everybody out of the gymnasium, which was probably about 300 people, have to be crammed into one hallway.
No, come
With-
on.
yeah,
Seriously,
yeah, that's how it
they
is.
could have just called it off.
Thank you. Anyway, so we're all like in the middle of our lunch. We're sitting like in this hallway with these kids being obnoxious, and they're like talking, and the mothers or fathers are talking, and we're just sitting there like, oh my gosh, we got so much work we still have to do.
Yeah.
And anyway, so it was about I'd say about 15 minutes after, they're like, all right, well, we're gonna go ahead and reschedule this until a later time.
And you're like, I hate all of you.
And so we're like, oh my gosh, this is obnoxious. And like now we have to like set it all up again at a later date. I know. And so, but
Yeah,
It
that's
was-
awful.
yeah, it was just like, if you guys just kind of listen to the custodians, like we kind of know what
Where's the
we're saying.
weatherman?
We are.
Listen to your conscience. What's your heart telling you, buddy?
What's your heart telling you? You just walk up to the principal and put your hand. What's your heart telling you?
He's like, don't,
My heart's telling me not to leave me alone.
My heart's
Get back to work. You stink. You stink, custodian.
You know how much you get paid compared to me?
Yeah. I got so much money. I have $1 billion in my account right now. $1 billion.
Oh yeah.
I have $1 billion, gajillion, a million.
You can't even fathom
I
it.
can't even fathom it. I made up a word.
Let
And you
have
don't.
5-year-olds make up these words.
I hire
That's how-
5-year-olds to make up words. That's how much money I have. Don't choke.
I'm gonna joke.
Don't choke. He's like, I have a vault like Scrooge McDuck. I swim in coins.
How can you do that? Like, I would like Scrooge McDuck. I mean, I know it's a cartoon, but you gotta think, trying to like dive into coins.
There's absolute like this.
There would be so much bodily harm, but he like swims in it like water. But
Like, it's-
if you dive head first, face first
into a pile of metal.
a pile of metal, just various sorts of metal, gold at that.
Gold at that, yeah.
Um,
Concussion.
concussion. There's
Broken
like,
body.
little round dots of like
Oh,
bruises
yeah.
and stuff, and they're like, "So, what happened?" I don't want to talk about
I don't want to talk about it.
it.
I broke my arm trying to dive into a pile of money.
Scrooge McDuckin.
Scrooge McDuckin.
So you know what I did the other day?
What'd you do, man?
All right. I hate myself for saying
It's all right.
this. All right.
Let's hear it.
It's a dad confession.
That's fine.
All right. I'm gonna take.
We
a
all
bite.
got one.
I'm gonna take a bite of this juicy pineapple first.
Juicy pineapple. Sponsored by pineapples.
Sponsored by me. I bought the shit.
No, I know you did.
It was like 2 cans for like $3.
Toucan Sam.
100% juice, buddy.
Call you Toucan.
I go all out when it
Two.
comes to refreshments.
Refreshments.
All right, so crappy dad confession.
It's alright. We all got one.
All right, here it goes. I did the thumb smear.
Oh, no.
My daughters, they have no comprehension of how to eat a sandwich.
Right.
You know, what they do is kids are idiots.
Right.
So naturally, their instinct when they see a sandwich
Mhm.
is to just dive face first
Right.
into the
well,
middle of it.
Yeah, of course.
And so, you
Some
know,
of the
it's like,
bread
it was
parts.
like it was like peanut butter and Nutella, one of the two, and
Right.
and it's just the sandwich parts on their face, and it's just they're like, and
They're
you
like
just
trying
see
to
the
eat
two
it from
lines.
the inside out, you know?
And I'm like, no, you gotta circle the
Yeah.
sandwich.
Right.
So, yeah, they had a Nutella sandwich, and
Mhm.
they dove face first into the
Right.
metal, just
Right.
and just mushed
Just mushed all the
sandwich
insides
fillings,
right into their face. Yeah.
sandwich filling face.
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn it, you guys are gonna be, we're going somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I'm
See-
like, I don't have enough time, and I'm like,
Oh, you did it.
Ah.
Oh, no.
Like-
Face, a thumb full of saliva.
yeah, that's, even though I just ate recently,
Yeah.
so I don't know,
Right to their face,
just
yeah.
lick it. Just, of course, they have the natural reaction of any normal ass kid. They're
Yeah.
just like, oh god,
Ew.
I saw what you ate. That shouldn't be on my face. It's not like we're cats or dogs or
Right.
anything with, we have clean salivatory glandular
Right.
things that clean our spit. No, we're just humans. We're
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah. Just saliva soaked thumb on their face, just
they're like, oh, gross.
just smeared.
And then I just wipe it on my
yeah,
pants or
well,
whatever.
yeah.
Because,
I've done that numerous times where like my kid, both of them just don't even like the idea of wiping their own nose.
oh, gross.
So like when you don't
Hold on,
have
you
a
didn't-
napkin.
You didn't thumb smear their noses, did you?
No,
Oh,
no
okay.
way, no way.
That's
But what you do is like their nose will be running, and I just kind of like I'm like, oh my gosh, and like my oldest daughter, when she doesn't have a rag and like it's going,
It's running.
it's running down into her mouth. She goes, my mouth, like she freaks out. He's going in my mouth, and she like freaks out. And so I gotta like take my hand and just smear it like right under her nose. And so I just wipe it on my pants so it looks
Ew.
like just a giant snot smear
Ew.
on my pants. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Man, mine
So.
was Nutella. I'm not trying to get bodily fluids on me.
Look, I love my kids.
That's gross. I love
You've
you.
had doo-doo fingers, I'm sure. When you try
alright.
and wipe your kid.
Well,
And you
why-
get doo-doo fingers.
I don't
but
wipe
you
it on my
wash your
hands.
But hey, we're out and about. I know, but it's not poop. It's
I'm not wiping my kid's butt and then wipe it on my
no, I don't
pants.
do that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I bet you do.
Hey,
Thicko,
you sicko.
you thicko.
Have some pineapple.
There's some thicko
So-
pineapple.
So of course the thumb smear makes me think of the good old days. Remember when we used to? It was very few situations warranted it.
Right.
One of them is going to grandma's house.
Right. Yeah.
And we would go, and she's like, "Go ahead, knock once." And so we'd knock, and then she's like, all right, look at me. And we're like, no, we know what's coming.
Right.
And she's just like, just
thumb,
smear
just
it.
smear it. Thumbs or saliva soaked thumbs.
And I'm like, no, my face is stop.
You're dry heaving.
And then, or just as worse is like whenever we had longer hair, I shave my head now. Justin shaves his head.
Yeah.
But my mom, she would give us this awesome comb over, like the parts. Like,
yeah.
Kind of look like Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes during picture day. That's how it would look like.
Right, yeah.
Especially when going to grandma's house.
Especially going to grandma's, yeah.
And if my part was like going crazy or got a cowlick or something like that, she would lick
her palm.
Lick her palm and then just
smear it.
Smear the hair back and I'm like, touch my hair!
I know she used to do she used to get like a napkin out of her purse or tissue.
Just as bad.
Out of her purse. And then, but I don't know if it was like a used tissue or not.
We never could tell.
But she would lick it and then wipe her face, like the side of our lip. And you're just like, ugh.
Is this used? Ugh. I mean, you never know when you're a kid, because,
You never know. It's
all you see is sometimes your parents would take a tissue, wipe their nose, put it back in the purse.
Yeah, throw it back in the purse, right.
Am I getting, like, old crusty
nose
goblins?
Yeah, nose goblins,
like tissue or something?
Man.
So I can't believe it did the thumb smear.
That's alright. Yeah, I started noticing things, like, when I'm half asleep, I do things that I shouldn't. But I do it, like my body, my brain's asleep, but my body's all like, hey, let's get all wild. And so, this was, the first thing I noticed was, it was the day that Ella had her tonsils taken out.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, hey, let's stop somewhere and pick up some grub. So we went through, Jack in the Box. And, yeah, it was quick food.
Yeah, I know.
So anyways, we went through Jack in the Box, and lady at the window was like, hey, do you guys need any sauces? And I'm like, yeah, can we get ranch, sweet and sour, and some honey mustard? Not for breakfast. It wasn't for breakfast, it was for lunch. Yeah, I'm fast forwarding it.
Oh, you're fast forwarding.
Yeah,
you're like, my body's half asleep. I'm like, holy God, what are you putting on your
I'm not going into the entire details, because I'm a detail-oriented person. So I'm going to go and cut.
You're cutting it.
I'm cutting it. So I'm editing it. So anyways, so we go through Jack in the Box to get lunch. And so they asked, hey, do you want any sauces? I said, yeah, get some ranch, get some sweet and sour, get some honey mustard. And she says, okay, and I'm like, great. And I did the A-OK, like the thumb and the pointer finger, and then the three kind of stick up. And I'm like, thanks. I did like that, and I held it up. And then I look at my wife, and she's just like, why did you do that? I'm like, I never do this. It's A-OK, all right. And I'm like, why did I do that? I never do that. And then, I'm trying to think, the other day, it was, I was talking to the teachers at the school, and I was telling them that, our runs are going to get changed again.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start doing,
different classrooms.
More classrooms than bathrooms.
Which is good.
Which is good. So, anyway, I was just talking to them about it. And I was all like, all right, well, have a good weekend. And I did the, shoot 'em up, bang, bang. Yeah, where my thumbs up and my pointer fingers out,
The
thumb
pointer gun.
Yeah, the gun slinging. And I was just like, all right. I did the thing. And I was just like, why did I do it?
I did that the other day.
Did you?
It was hilarious. I was running into our music teacher.
Right.
and I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I did the little,
You did the
little
two
thumb,
thumbs? Yeah.
and he's like, "Whoa, Jared, this is a school. You can't be bringing."
I can't be bringing those in school, sir. Sorry,
I
I'll put 'em
about
away.
died. I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then I put them back in the holsters. And he just kind of like
Sheathed
shook.
them back.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I put him back in.
Yeah.
He kind of shook his head and walked away.
Instead of putting them in your pocket, put them under your armpits, like you're an actual like cop. Instead of going, just like, oh, okay. There you go. Put them underneath
I
your
should have
arms.
said something witty like, "Don't worry, they're not loaded."
They're not loaded. Chum chum.
Pure.
Chum chum.
Hold on, if you make the sounds afterwards.
They are
that-
loaded. Click, 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 click.
Bingo. Yahtzee. But I'm known around the school for, I am the guy who does the thumbs up. Like, I'll say something like,
Oh, yeah.
"Cool, thanks, guys." Now,
got
I'll do the, I don't do the fawns because
Yeah, you don't go A.
you
just,
don't, I don't flip the collar
Yeah, you don't
of
flip
my,
the collar and go.
my uniform polo. That would just look awful. Like, oh, gosh, somebody get this fat guy out of here.
Alright. No, I do. They call me Mr. Jingles.
What? Where does that come from?
It's because my keys.
Oh,
I walk around like here.
yeah,
I'll be back.
yeah.
Let me get my keys.
He's getting his keys. Oh.
Okay, so I got my keys always clipped on my belt, and when I walk, my keys are always jiggling.
Ah, okay. That makes
So like
sense.
they'll hear me like coming down the hall, and it's just like, "There goes
Yeah.
Justin, Mr. Jingles,
Mr. Bojangles."
So
I saved the last pineapple piece.
Oh,
for
thanks, man. It's so thicko. Thicko.
nothing but the juice.
I'm about the juice.
That was.
You know what they say about pineapple juice? It's delicious.
It's delightful.
Hi, kitty.
Hey, cat. I have a cat. She likes to walk around like she owns the place.
You know what's funny about that cat is that every time I come here and I have to use the bathroom, the cat always follows me. Jared's like, "You know, you can close the door. Cat won't get you." I'm like, "I don't care. I like company." So what the cat does is, like, I'll be standing there peeing, and the cat, like, goes into the bathtub behind the curtain and then hops up on the toilet and watches me pee.
It's
Anybody,
awkward.
it's awkward, but like if anybody is like around me when I have to pee, I get the peen shyness. But this cat, no peen shyness with this cat around.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
one good thing I guess she does.
Yeah.
But cats are dicks. I love my cat.
Yeah.
Cats are dicks though, man. She's always nibbling on people.
Oh,
And
cats still do that?
oh yeah,
Okay.
she totally does it. You'll be petting her and she's like, "Oh, this feels good, but I think I need to sink my teeth into
Yes.
your human
I'm
flesh."
gonna go ahead and do that real quick.
I'm
That's
pretty
okay.
sure all cats do that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they have a taste for human flesh.
I think they do.
I'm dead set on
Yeah.
it because she always. I'm pretty sure there's times where we're like sleeping at night
Mm-hmm.
and she like comes up and she's like putting her hand over our mouths and she's like, "Damn it, they're still breathing."
Still breathing.
I'm pretty sure like as soon as I die, like literally as soon as I die, she's just gonna be trying to like eat me.
She has like a hidden fork and knife and a napkin.
bib.
Yeah, a bib or a napkin to wrap around, and then once you die, it's gonna be like, "It's my time," and pulls out this old shoebox of like a plate, a napkin,
She's gonna shine them up.
just blows on it, just all this dust goes everywhere.
They're waiting.
I've been waiting for this moment my entire life.
But
It's
I don't think
buried
there
in the
would be.
cat box.
But even whenever I'm like taking a nap before work, since we work the late shift, I mean,
Right.
there are times she'll come up
Yeah.
and she's like, she'll like paw at me,
Yeah.
and then she just like walks away.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure she's like,
Check and see if you're dead.
"Are you dead?" Oh, damn it.
Not now. Dang.
Cause and there's another thing. I was reading this article about how like cats, you know how they like mush their face on you.
Of
They're
course,
just
yeah.
like,
Yeah, they just
rub
face
their face.
mushes. Yeah.
So I hear from the article that's a show of affection because basically they're putting their pheromones on you
Yeah.
to basically say you're theirs.
Yeah, you're mine.
I think that's bullshit. Yes, they could be putting pheromones on you.
Yeah.
It's not because they like you. I think they're claiming their food.
Yeah. It's kind of like
Like-
licking your own food.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're like, like, "Oh, you want this muffin?" And you just lick the muffin, like, Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
put
that's
it
like
down, yeah.
that's the feline version of it.
Of licking
Like,
your own food.
yeah, some other cat's gonna smell like, oh, gross.
That's someone else's food. They must have licked that.
Because no other cat wants that.
Right.
Because cats don't care if another cat licks another human.
Right.
Because I mean, they have cleaner salivatory glands
Right.
than we do.
Yeah.
And they're like, whatever, but they're like, oh, gross. Ugh, I don't want their pheromones.
I don't want that. I don't want that person's food.
Disgusting pheromones.
Gross pheromones.
Of a
No.
cat.
Yeah.
So
Pepper was like that. Pepper,
Our
our old
older
cat.
Yep.
She would do that, and she would. I think she tried to eat me when I was sleeping because she would try and suck on my eyeball.
Oh, she did do that.
Like,
didn't
I think
she?
that's what, like, maybe that was her delicacy, was like, I'm just gonna start at the eyeballs and work my way. And she would, like, suck on my eyelid, and I'm like, ah!
Because it would be when you're in a deep sleep.
Yeah,
And all of a
deep
sudden-
sleep.
and then
And you just feel this, like, and you're like, my eyeball!
sometimes, there's been a couple of times she'll do that, and you're just like, ah, gross. You know, after a while you get used
Yeah.
to it. But then she'll, like, accidentally get her teeth into it.
Yeah.
Accidentally, I'm putting up finger quotes.
Yeah, finger quotes.
Because I'm pretty sure she's trying to eat our
Yeah, I think
eyeballs.
she's trying to eat our bodies. So, I think that's how cats are. Wouldn't surprise me. So,
Justin, you're gonna hate me.
why, what's up, man?
I got something for you.
I don't know. What do you got? Punch in the face.
Punch in the face. Nope.
He's
better.
walking away. Jared said I need to limit my burping, so there's
Oh,
one.
come on.
There's one. I did
Where is
one.
it?
A red stapler.
Oh, no.
Oh no, not a shocking kind. Oh, you
Oh,
just.
Justin, we have a shocking story.
Oh no. I hate you. We're gonna start doing this now already?
Yes!
I don't wanna be
Episode
part
2.
of this.
Alright, so basically, I got the idea, and we always have to pass ideas through each other to make, to
I
make
don't want to
sure.
play this game.
And I said, hey, we
This
need like
game
a
scares
shocking
me.
thing. We'll get a shocking mechanism, and then we'll.
I don't want to play this game.
And basically, Justin or me, whoever brings in the story, we can't tell the other person we're about to do it until it's time. And basically, we bring in a funny news story that we find, and the other person has to read it, and if they laugh during the story, they have to shock themselves. Unfortunately, Justin, I'm going to have you police yourself. Normally, I was just going to have you. I was going to hold your hand to it,
Yeah.
but you have to press them together.
Oh, it's one of those things.
Yep. So you don't have to do it yet. And to prematurely shock somebody is
Right.
actually against the rules.
Oh, okay.
But I do have a nice story for you here, Justin, from 2010,
Okay.
that you're going to have to read.
I'm gonna have to read.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
you're going to have to read it, and you can't laugh.
Okay.
All right. So what's the title of it at the top there?
Hippies versus bikers.
You can laugh now. I'll let you. It's when you start reading.
Okay.
Hippies versus bikers.
Hippies versus bikers.
I'll try not to laugh.
Growing tired of throwing blood. I'm already laughing. Dang it! I don't like this game already.
Keep reading out loud.
Growing tired of throwing fake blood and shouting profanities elsewhere. I can't finish it.
You gotta make it. It's only 3 paragraphs.
It's 3 paragraphs. I can't
I
even get past the
condensed
first
it.
sentence.
I
I'm shouting
condensed it to 3.
profanities at older women wearing leather. I'm doing this to myself.
Alright,
This is
you want me to read it?
all right.
And
The
then-
fur coats. Animal rights activists decide to protest an annual motorcycle event in a hope to show them our outrage at their use of leather in their clothing and motorbike seats. In fact, said the organizer, motorcycle gangs are one of the biggest abusers of wearing leather, and we decided it was high time that we let them know that we disagree with them using it. According to witnesses, protesters arrived at the event in their Volkswagen for you Germans out there, yes, and began to...
The Volkswagen fan. You want me to read it? Would it make you feel better if I read it? And if you laugh, you're going to police yourself, right?
I've been doing it already.
You've been doing great. Alright, so motorcycle gangs are one of the biggest abusers of wearing leather, and we decided it was high time that we let them know that we disagree with them using it. According to witnesses, protesters arrived at the event in their Volkswagen van and began to pelt the gang members with balloons filled with red-colored water, simulating blood, and shouting, "You're murderers!" to passersby.
Right.
They peed on me. Charged one activist. You can wait till I start reading it again before you start shucking.
Alright.
Oh gosh. They grabbed me and said I looked like I was French and started calling me latrine.
Calling you what?
They grabbed me and said I looked like I was French and started calling me latrine. And duct taped me to the tree so they could pee on me all day.
Oh, man.
I was trying to show my outrage at a man with a heavy leather jacket, and he didn't even care. I called him a murderer, and all he said was, "You can't prove that." Then he forced me to ride on the back of his motorcycle all day because his girlfriend was out of town, and I was almost a woman myself. Still others claim they were forced to eat hamburgers and hot dogs. Oh, here it comes. And those who resisted were allegedly held down while several bikers farted on their heads.
I gotta switch hands with some tingly.
Police officials declined comments on any leads or arrests due to the ongoing nature of the investigation.
Oh, wow. That was a shocking story.
That was.
Oh, man, that thing tingles so much. Have you tried that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I had to try it out.
Yeah, test it out. Oh, that thing is tingly. Woo! That thing's crazy.
That was a story from back in 2010. I thought that was...
That's great. That's hilarious.
But basically,
yeah.
now I can't do a return. I can't do it every single one. We have to switch off back and forth.
Right.
So next time it's Justin's turn, whether he brings it on the next one.
Or a future one. We'll see.
Or a future one. It's up to him. I get to sit and wait and fear.
And sit and wait for the shock.
But
I think, I think with that, it's like, I mean, you gotta, do it to yourself. Which there's no, like the other person has control over your own shock.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that would be, I think that's a little, you have to do it yourself. So I'm like, I'm laughing and I'm having to press this thing and I'm like, ah! Oh
I was trying to find one to where I could shock you.
Right.
Or vice versa, obviously.
Right. Like that
but I couldn't find it, but I was able to find a fake toy gag stapler that does it, but it's the top is metal and the bottom is, and you have to press them together, so you can't just push your hand on it. So I wasn't gonna hold his hand and be like, I'm gonna squish it.
Yeah, squish it. Yeah. But reminds me of that scene from Ghostbusters.
Oh, from the first movie, the beginning. He's like, why do you keep shocking me?
Why do you keep shocking me? He gets angry about it.
He's like, I don't know, some squiggle lines. And the card is actually some wavy lines. And he's like,
It's like, don't do it. It's shocking me. Oh, that's great.
That's awesome. So, let's see. What else is on the agenda? We're covering lots of things. See, tornadoes, yeah. Thumb smear, shocking story. Cats are dicks. Was there, so that leaves me to one of our other things, something that I read on Facebook recently.
Okay.
One of my friends, Monica.
Yeah.
Monica Snyder. She went to school with us.
Yeah.
She
Yeah, I remember
she
Monica.
posted an article about couples who have like crushes, whether they're harmful or harmless.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So like if you're in a couple, whether married, dating, anything like that,
Right.
if you have some sort of like crush on somebody,
Right.
and whether it was good, bad, depending on what the crush was. Do you have any?
Crushes?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say like, do you have any ideas or thoughts on the subject of like? I mean, you've been married for how long?
5.
5 years.
About 5 years. Yeah.
About 5 years.
So.
I mean, what is your take on?
Well, my take is, I mean, before I met Shannon, I was in pretty much a miserable relationship. I was with her for like 7 years.
Yeah, you were with her for a while.
Yeah, and it was a real miserable relationship. And I knew, like, at the time that I was with her, I was one of those where it was like, well, I'm not going to leave her until I meet someone better than me, or not better than me, but someone that's more compatible, so that's when I met Shannon, and her and I started hooking up, and started, we talked about plans of getting married and stuff like that, but, I mean, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in, like, looking for, like a couple, like I'm trying to figure out what, like a relationship, like another relationship with like another woman, or
not,
like
I mean saying like crushes, like
a crush. Oh, like
that's a good looking lady.
Well, Shannon
or
and
that's
I,
a good looking man.
Right. Well, Shannon and I we'll joke about certain things. Like we don't do like couples like just a different like normal people. We'll do like celebrities.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody.
So
has
we
the
do that.
celebrity.
We have the celebrity crush. We don't have like the normal
What's
people
Shannon's?
crush. Shannon's is Gerard Butler.
Oh, of course.
Young Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20.
From back whenever his
Yeah.
From his push you around days.
Yeah.
Push you
I
around.
wanna push you around. Well, I will. She's never gonna listen to this podcast. So
Nope.
I can totally.
I'm pretty sure Heather will never.
No.
Listen to this, so.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, that's her crush. Mine is obviously Jennifer Love Hewitt. Still.
Still? Seriously?
Well, here's the thing: is that
Is there a particular era, or you just like it's ongoing?
No, it's all going.
All ongoing.
From Baby to no, I'm kidding.
that's
weird.
That's weird.
No, I'm just kidding. But from like
Party of 5 on up.
Yeah, Party on 5 on up. But like Shannon's like, hey, let's watch The Ghost Whisperer, and I'm like, ah, man. But then I watched Jennifer Love Hewitt, and she always wore like these like
low cut tops
in '90s, and I was like, yeah, that's awesome. So that's what like got me through that show, was just watching Jennifer Love Hewitt and all her outfits, and I was like, that Shannon was awesome. No, I'm kidding. Just rubbing it in her face. Like,
So do you?
No.
I mean, have you ever had like a crush on somebody who
No.
wasn't? So
No, not really. Like, I don't know, for some weird reason, like, I've fully committed myself.
yeah. So
To-
you're saying you don't see like any hot chicks, and you're like, man.
No, not really. Honestly, no.
Not at your school. Not at.
Oh, we talked about, like, we were joking.
We were joking.
We were
Well, I mean,
jokingly-
most of these are like harmless. Stuff.
Right. We were joking about, like, there's this librarian at the school that I work at, and she's got, like, the sexy librarian look, where she wears, like, the glasses, and she kind of has her hair pulled back, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna meet you in the...
You were just
See,
doing.
did you see me? Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm doing
the finger
I'm
guns.
doing the finger guns now.
That's how he picks up the ladies.
I did, yeah.
He didn't even make the sound. He was just talking while
I was going,
shooting
chum,
at her.
chum, Shooting
with
blanks.
his love bullets.
My
Ew.
love- Ew.
Alright, I regret.
Bro!
Rewind. I can't think of anything else. It's love bullets. I'm sorry. It's gonna have to be.
It's gonna stay there.
It's gonna have to be that.
It's gonna
I'm
have to be
sorry.
there. But anyways, it was Don't choke.
I'm not.
Don't choke. Anyways, but I mean, now I guess I've jokingly said, you know, you see someone attractive and you're like, oh, hey.
Oh yeah.
You know, you point it out, but for me, like a crush is someone that kind of stays there,
You have to get like emotionally.
and you get
attached,
like emotionally
yes.
attached. Like, you know, when I'm, you know, it's just all like, oh, hey, you know, like you point it out, you know,
Yeah.
above everybody else. So you know, it's.
I agree.
how it is.
I mean, I have. Everybody has like their celebrity ones. I know. Like with me, mine is like. I mean, I could go like present day with like Scarlett Johansson and stuff like that. I mean, those are almost just givens. But me,
Right.
I'm like Audrey Hepburn and Grace
course,
Kelly.
yeah.
Those would be my all-time. Yeah.
Modern Doris Day.
Modern Doris Day?
Just kidding. I'm kidding. No. She just turned 90.
She just turned 90.
She just turned 90. So,
So
no, I had to
happy
pull that
birthday,
up.
Doris Day, if you're ever going to listen to this. I love you.
Never.
Man Who Knew Too Much was a great movie.
Call me.
Case Rosserant.
Call me. Hit me up on Twitter.
But Heather, she's all...
Modern Doris Day. How do you figure this out? Click, 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 click. No, go ahead.
I really want to say thank
I
you.
want to say thanks to this young man.
But
Thanks for the
Heather,
towel off his cheek. No, I'm kidding.
Doris Day, just
Doris
I'd
Day.
let her thumb smear my cheek.
You would totally let her thumb smear you.
You know, when you say it like
It
that.
sounds like pap smear.
Ew! I don't want anybody to smear my paps. But the wife she also has like her little crushes on
Right.
like, Ryan Gosling or like Common the rapper and
Common the rapper?
you know the rapper Common.
No, I know. It's very like.
He's not known as Common the rapper.
Right.
But she's like, he's a fine looking African American. I'm just like, you need to
Like,
calm
I need
down.
some hot chocolate. And you're like, whoa!
Well, or
Do you need some marshmallows
I
on that white?
I can literally go down the list.
Is this thing unplugged?
No?
Oh God! Save the laptop! Alright, there we go.
Alright,
We got
we're
it
good.
accidentally
Oh,
unplugged.
man.
We're good.
We're good?
We're safe.
Alright.
It's plugged in. It was, I guess I accidentally unplugged it and it was like, I'm dying, help me!
We're so janky that we're like, there's so many cords around us.
Where's all the cords? No.
But Heather and like Idris Elba, I could go down an entire laundry list.
Yeah.
Oh, but at the top of the list though,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like above me, I can tell you that for sure.
Right.
Gavin Rosdale from Bush. Yeah, we went.
But you liked Gwen Stefani.
Oh, I loved it. So that
love-
makes us the perfect couple.
That makes
I don't
you guys
like,
a perfect couple.
but that's the thing. I don't like Gwen Stefani anymore.
No,
I
not
don't find her-
now.
But Heather still loves Gavin
Oh,
Rosdale.
sure. Okay, gotcha.
So much that we had to actually change plans for our anniversary one year because Bush, Cake, and some other bands were coming
Right.
to Point Fest,
Yeah.
and they were doing a concert, and Bush was like headlining the entire thing,
Right.
and it was funny because we got some select seats. It was way in the back of this amphitheater.
Yeah.
And it was awesome because Gavin Rosdale was like, you know what? I'm just going to run off the stage. So he runs off the stage and he runs into the audience and he runs all the way to the lawn, hugs this girl who's like basically just like passed out from like sheer like, oh my gosh, Gavin Rosdale ran out and hugged me.
Right.
And then he was on his way back, got stopped by all these people
Right.
at the end of our row. No other people
Right.
were between
Oh.
us and Gavin Rosdale.
Right.
And I knew it's a one-time thing. I was
Yeah.
like, Heather, go. Just go be a fangirl. Like, go
run!
crazy.
Get him!
Go touch him.
Go
if you
get
need
him! Go get him!
And she froze up.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's how
Like a-
everybody would be with
she-
like their
yeah,
like
shock.
their celebrity crush.
Right.
Like she was just like, she's like looking at me. I'm like, go, and she couldn't even talk. She's like just shaking her head no. She's like, no, I can't, no.
I think that's how
But
Shannon
at the
would
same
be,
time,
right?
she kind of had the smile, like she just wished she could, but
Yeah.
she was just scared
Yeah.
shitless.
Her heart says yes, but her body said no.
Her body's like, nope, I'm gonna shut down.
Yeah, I'm shutting down. That's
Like,
funny.
she was just like sitting it blocks. I'm like, come on, I kind of like
Kind of
nudged her.
nudged her, and she's
I'm like,
just,
go for it. And she's like, no.
she's like playing stick, like, like her roots are digging into the ground. So no, I've asked Shannon, and I'm like, you know, if because I was saying that we wanted to Matchbox 20 was coming with the Goo Goo
Yeah.
Dolls
Oh,
at
that
one
was
point,
huge
and I
concept.
told Shannon, I was like, well, why don't we go? She's like, oh, that'd be nice, we can go. And I was like, well, what if we get backstage VIP? Because I think they may have that.
Yeah.
And I said, would you want to meet him? And she goes, no. Like, I think she would panic, you know? Like,
Well,
if
she
he...
already has anxiety, right?
Yeah. So she's already got, like, anxiety problems.
Yeah.
And
that
so,
would just make things worse.
But, I mean, like... I mean, I wouldn't really know how I'd react, like, if Jennifer Love Hewitt, if I just walked up to her.
Yeah.
I'd probably do, like, you know, like a quick side hug with a quick tit grab, and then
Oh,
No,
I
side hugger. I'm a huge fan. And then walk away. Did
Yeah.
you just make a honking noise when you did that? I'm like, no, that was a bicycle. Just go by, honk honk. I don't know. No, I'm kidding.
But, I mean, those are harmless ones. I mean, celebrity
Right, yeah.
ones. In the article we were reading, it was incredibly, like, one-sided because it was, like, it was wrote from the perspective of a wife who's like, well, I got this crush on my guy at work, on this guy I know at work. I think he's, like, hot or whatever. And my husband, he's got a crush on this actress or whatever. I think that's, like, how it was.
Right.
And, or was it vice versa? It's been a week since I read it.
Right.
But it was like, one was like a co-worker crush or something, the other one was
Just a simple celebrity.
like a celebrity one. I'm like, well, that's not even in the same, like, category.
It's not even the same ball field.
No, because you're not going to see, like,
Right.
Big Daddy guys.
Right. Yeah.
You're not going to be, you're very...
It's
unlikely to meet them,
Right.
and you're incredibly unlikely for them to be like, you middle-aged woman working at a cubicle. You're one I want.
You're the one
You're what I want. You're the one I want. But
Right.
and so people were talking about it.
Yeah.
I thought it was rather interesting.
Right.
But even some of the other harmless ones, like I have, is the girl from Barnes and Noble.
Right.
It's the Barnes and Noble girl from next to my parents' house. We go there sometimes. We went there for like the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, and it was
Right.
like a reading.
Yeah.
And she looks like Natalie Portman as like a librarian,
Oh, nice.
like if she was trying to rock that.
Right.
And she was all reading the book, and I'm like, she's so flippin' hot.
She's so hot. She's so flippin' hot. She's making me sexist. Bitch.
Any Flight of the Conchord fans out there,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
You
talking
know what I'm
about.
talking about.
She's making me sexist.
She's so hot. Boom.
But I was like, she's so hot. And so me and the wife, we joke about it.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
she's like, oh, you jerk, you know. And anytime I go to my parents' house, I'm like, hey, so did you see what's-her-face there?
Chum chum, and now you're doing the.
I'm doing it
now you're
too.
doing the fingers. I'm telling you, dude.
It's involuntary.
It is involuntary.
Do you
Like I
think,
said,
like-
your body takes over, bro.
Do you think, like, cavemen had that? Like, me like you. They wouldn't have guns.
Do you think they
like,
threw spears? Like they went like.
They had, like, imaginary spears or clubs.
Like yeah,
Hey,
clubs.
hey, what's up?
Just
Start
swinging
swinging their
arms.
hands.
Yeah, swishing their arms around.
But I mean, those are funny ones. But then you get like the crazy ones. Like
Right.
I remember, like not a lot of people know this story, and it's crazy that I'm telling it.
Right.
But back whenever Heather and I were engaged, I developed a crush on this girl at work at the hospital.
Oh wow.
And we were kind of going through a rough spot there. And so, I mean, that's usually what happens. I mean, you
Right.
start going through a rough spot, you feel
Yeah.
like you're not getting enough attention, or at least good attention.
Right.
When you find somebody who is giving it, and you just
Right.
kind of fall for it, and
Right.
before you know it, you're like,
Having a relationship.
yeah, you're
Right.
basically, it's causing severe detriment to your relationship.
Right. Yeah.
And it kind of snowballed, and like we called off the engagement for
Mhm.
a certain amount of time.
Right.
And then, I mean, a little bit later we put it back on.
That's right.
But that, I don't even want to mention names or anything.
Right. No,
This
that's
is a condensed version. But go ahead.
no. You're right. That's kind of what happened with my relationship when I was with my first girlfriend. Was I actually was crushing on Shannon because I would see her at my work all the time. And she'd be walking around with like her sister or her parents or whatever, and she'd be walking around and I was crushing on her. And then it got to the point where like I was like became friends with her sister, and then like I'd find her like at the time it was MySpace.
Yeah.
Facebook.
alright, That's how long.
So that's how long ago this was. And so yeah, I could kind of see where like when one relationship fails or whatever or starts kind of crumbling, then you go towards another one. But I think in my situation, it was actually for the best.
Oh, yeah. Well, you were
Yeah.
she was. That's
Bad
all I can
news.
say.
Bad
She was
news.
bad news. She was bringing you down. Like, I think she was worsening your depression.
Oh, it was brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. So, but I'm not gonna go into all that. But
Nah, nobody wants to hear about all that.
no, that's especially me and my descriptiveness. So my detail-oriented
Well,
stories.
let me-
Here's where it all started.
Here's my poetry book I was writing. Well, no.
Just moody.
I was listening to a lot of Cure, so
I was listening
prepare
to Cure
yourself.
back in the day.
So prepare yourself.
But no, yeah, so I mean I can kind of see where, and then what, you and Monica were kind
Yeah.
of talking.
And so I'll actually we'll splice this in there, but it was
Jared.
my friend Monica Snyder. I actually asked her if she wanted to give her 2 cents on the subject of crushes while you're with couples with crushes. That's
Right.
kind of a simple way to say it.
Right.
But she gave her 2 cents about it, and I would actually like to bring Monica on more often. She's a very smart individual who I've known since high school, and so is Justin. And she's very smart. She does a really. She's also part of an organization that we're very familiar and very fond of, which is the Secular Pro-Life organization.
Yeah.
Really good girl. We'll probably keep her on as a female.
Keeper, yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll consider her our female intelligence ambassador, the FIA.
That's good enough.
Yeah, that sounds like a good term. Female intelligence
Alright.
ambassador.
So we'll go ahead and
So
put in that
go
audio
ahead
clip.
and listen to that.
Listening. You're listening now.
Hey, it's Monica.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going really well. How are you?
I'm doing good. How's California weather treating you?
It's awesome. It's really nice out. We went on a walk yesterday and everything's blooming.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw a couple of those pictures online. It looked like everything was looking pretty good over there. I also saw that creepy what what was that guy?
I don't know. The description made it sound like I should have taken a picture of the description. It was actually kind of ominous. It made it sound like they were honoring him for bringing civilization to California, which to me is a euphemism for whatever he did with the Native Americans when he got
Genocide.
there. So,
What
I don't know. And
civilization?
I thought it was funny because his statue was so creepy looking and the description was kind of creepy.
Well, and there was like wasn't there like a nun shining a light? Or something
Yeah,
like
that was a totally different thought of the park. And
I was laughing at that one. It was like the nun was holding up the lamp. She's like, "Fuck you, knight. Stay back."
I know she was holding it like a knife or a sword or something.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's just my interpretation. I just thought it's like she was brandishing a lantern.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what are you doing? What's your occupation?
Well, I'm in grad school right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm studying forensic science, and I'm
Okay.
hoping to be done by December. I was hoping to be done by June actually, but that's not going to happen. So I'm hoping to be done by December and then ideally work as a DNA analyst somewhere. But we'll see.
Nice.
It's a tough job to get, so I'm not sure.
DNA analyst. That actually reminds. That's funny that you say that because I actually I had a friend go to Las Vegas once. It was a couple years back, and while he was there, he's like, "Do you want me to get you anything?" I said, "Yeah, get me this. There's a really cool CSI Las Vegas T-shirt that they have, but it has like the logo on the front, on the top left pocket, and a really big one on the back. And it just says CSI Las Vegas, like it's like the some sort of evidence or something like that, but just like the show, crime scene investigation, yeah. And it was funny. I was wearing like a lanyard with a badge on it that I scanned to get into this room that I was working at another job, and I was at Target, and the lanyard was on backwards, so all they saw was just like the scan card and me wearing the shirt. And so they saw the T-shirt and the scan card. It was a mom and a daughter. Well, they were about 20 years apart or so, but they were both like at least 30s and 50s, I would say.
Right.
And they were talking, they were looking at me, and they were like, "I have to ask, do you actually work CSI?" And I'm like, I was about to say, no, not at all. But then I was like, you know what? Let's see where this takes us. So I was like, oh yeah, of course. And she goes, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I'm like, yeah, I just recently transferred to St. Louis. They're like, oh my gosh, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a DNA analyst, supervisor. And they're like, that's awesome. So it's funny that you're into DNA analyzing, and that's the term I use.
Hopefully I'll be able to say that for real, but we'll see.
So one of the questions we're going to be talking about on the podcast was, it was actually a subject you brought up on the Facebook with the article. I wasn't able to find the original one, but it was basically about the couples who have crushes and whether it's harmful or harmless.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Okay, and that was one we were definitely wanting to touch on. And you've been with Jack for how long now?
We're coming up on 5 years.
5 years now. So you guys have been dating. Any long-term plans yet, or are you just kind of waiting until after school?
Well, it's really just that, like, the long and short of it is my parents got divorced when I was a kid, and it was a really bad divorce. And because of that, I'm super, super skittish about marriage.
I don't blame you.
Jack is not. Jack is fine with it, but he's very much like whatever I want to do, he'll do. And so for a long time now, we've just sort of been, we're just gonna keep staying together one way or the other, whether we formalize it or not. So we just haven't formalized it. But but long term, we do plan to stay together. We've talked a lot about when we should start having kids and things like that. So.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I don't blame you on the whole skittish aspect. I mean, I've been married for 9 years, and I think if, for some reason we got divorced, I don't think I'd be too hip on doing a second marriage. It's just, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I know. But it's good that obviously you know it because you're married. But I feel like a lot of people, before they get married, they don't take it seriously enough. And that's why some people don't work out. And if I ever do get married, I take it extremely seriously, which is one of the reasons I'm so hesitant about it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't blame you. Yeah.
So.
And we were dating.
But we've been together a very long time, and our relationship is extremely serious. So even though we're not married, I still find articles like that, which are supposed to apply to married people, pretty interesting.
True. Well, I think it applies to a lot of couples too.
I'm sorry, say again?
I said I think it also I think yeah, with married couples and just even dating couples too, it's kind of
Yeah,
an
any
interesting
long-term
thing.
monogamous relationship, I would think that this is something they should at least talk about.
True. Yeah, and
So.
so you guys have obviously talked about it.
Well, actually, we had touched on it maybe briefly in the course of our relationship, but that specific article, I read it that day that I posted it. He and I went out on a date that night, and so we ended up talking about it then. It was a really good conversation.
Nice.
I always feel better when I know that I can talk to him about even awkward or possibly difficult subjects, and there's no friction. We just discuss it, and not everybody does that, and it's really nice to be able to communicate like that. So we talked about it, and I told him what the article said, and asked him what he thought about it. We talked a little bit about he works at a Nordstrom rack. It's like the discount Nordstrom,
Yeah.
and he sells women's shoes. So he sees women all day long, all the time, and a lot of them hit on him. I don't know if they're trying to get a discount, or they just think he's really cute, or what. But
It could
happens
be a
all
little
the
bit of
time.
both. It could definitely be both.
Yeah. So we talked about that. I'm not worried about it. I totally trust him. I couldn't be with him as long as I have if I didn't. But we were talking about how he handles that, and he told me about a situation of his previous job where there was a woman, not a customer, but a woman he worked with, who he thought was very good looking, and he could tell by the way she was acting that she found him attractive. And the way he handled that was he scheduled his shift to be when she wasn't working. And this was years ago, and he never mentioned it to me, which I don't mind. I don't think he didn't do anything wrong and nothing happened. I don't think he's obliged to tell me, but I found it very endearing to know that even in a situation like that where nothing has happened and he's just taking precautions to make sure nothing does happen. And I think that's amazing. I totally trust him.
That's
So,
very admirable.
yeah, it was a really nice conversation. And
That's good.
I'm glad I read the article and that we got to talk about it.
And so have you had any situations like that where you thought some guy was like attractive, but then, I mean, you didn't really do anything serious, you didn't put any moves
I
on?
have.
Okay.
And I talked to him about that. I had never told him before either, just because, I don't know, why bring it up if it's not a problem? I don't want to make him worry. But since we were talking about it, one of my previous jobs, I actually found one of the guys I worked for, one of my superiors, very attractive.
Mm-hmm.
It was especially a tricky situation because at that time, Jack and I were going through sort of a rough phase, which I think was directly related to my feelings about someone else.
Yeah.
And so the way I handled it was I just avoided him. I would work with him and I'd be professional, but I made it a point to not talk about anything too personal, or if I did, to talk about Jack a lot. And the guy was a nice guy. I don't think he knew that I found him attractive, and he was always professional, and he wasn't like hitting on me or anything. And then I just waited for it to go away, the feelings, I mean, and then they did. And that actually made me feel even more confident in my relationship. I think maybe it's different for different people, but I think that for us, it's unrealistic to expect that neither of us will ever find anyone else attractive again. I think that if we're planning to stay together in the long term, we should be realistic about the fact that both of us will probably meet people that we do think are attractive, and that isn't a threat as long as we understand how to handle it. You
And
know what
not to act upon it. I mean, it's human nature, because I mean, obviously with guys we're hunters. That's like just
and very visual.
Yes, very. And then with women like to be wooed. Well, that's kind of their thing. They like being swept off their feet. You have this attractive guy who's being all nice and courteous, and you're like, oh, well, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be said too, I think, for both genders about just something being new. Just you get very used to the person you're with. It's not even necessarily that they're doing anything wrong or that there's a problem, but there's something to be said for novelty that I think can make things seem more attractive than they really are.
Exactly.
And so I'm a big believer in just sort of taking a breath and giving it some time. And so far in my experience, any guy that I found really attractive, if I just waited and gave it some time and got to know him better, it went away. Not because he was a jerk or anything, but just because you get to know them more as a whole person with their flaws.
Yeah, the silver lining kind of goes away after a while.
Exactly. exactly. You realize they're just another person, just like everyone else, just like the person you're with, and it's not such a fantasy.
Exactly. And yeah, I've had situations like that at my job where I would develop a crush on somebody, and it's like, well, I'm either with my girlfriend. Well, there was a couple of times where it would be like she was my fiance, and I'm like, oh my gosh, am I seriously developing feelings for this person? And you just avoid them at all costs. And so I think there is, I mean, I know with the articles, it kind of puts basically either all crushes are harmful or either all of them are harmless, when I think there's like two different types, more or less. I mean, there are harmless ones like celebrity crushes and things like that, but then there's also the harmful ones, which like you, Jack, me, and basically everybody else in existence have had, where it's like somebody that you work with or you're around with on a daily basis, to where it could be harmful because it's such close proximity, as opposed to like the person who makes you coffee in the morning, or
Yeah, the article really didn't make that distinction, it seemed like.
No, because they had, like, the husband had kind of a crush on somebody at work or something like that, and she's like, well, I kind of have a crush on this one celebrity, so it's like the same, right?
Yeah, definitely not the same. And I thought it was cool. I don't know if you got to see every comment when we were talking about it on Facebook, but there were one or two people who talked about their real life experiences and how they handled it, and it was really admirable. There was one woman I know who was talking about how she developed a crush on a guy she worked with when she was someone else. And it's a tough situation because it's not like every time you have feelings for someone you change jobs,
That's
so
true.
she just, like you said, she just avoided him as much as she could until she could move into another position. And I think that's really admirable when there's nothing else you can do. I feel like people who are unfaithful, not all of them, I'm sure there are a wide variety of circumstances, but in general I think that the first step toward that is not recognizing when your feelings are or are not appropriate, and whether your actions based on those feelings are or are not appropriate. Because, for example, I could be super friendly to some guy I work with who I have no feelings toward, and it could be fine. But if I behave exactly the same way towards him when I have feelings toward him, then those actions might no longer be so innocent. You know what I mean?
That's true, and it's very hard to sometimes go back from that, even if they're completely unaware of you having a crush on them. Sometimes it's very hard to get back to just like a friend phase, which is really weird to say out loud, but I think everybody's kind of gone through that, to where it's like, well, you've been avoiding the guy, and it's very hard to get back to that like chummy sort of like buddy feeling when you're like, well, I kind of had feelings for you, so it's kind of not the same after that. And it's definitely not a fun thing to get into. So, I mean, it's definitely one of those.
It's good.
Go ahead.
It's good to be able to talk about it directly, both in society in general and especially with your partner. I think if you can be honest with them about it, it helps keep you honest, and it helps them know that they can trust you. But I know some people don't feel that way. They think it's best not to say anything. I guess it depends on the dynamic of the relationship. I'm not sure.
And the severity of the attraction, and like how much the person is emotionally invested into it is definitely, and I think it depends on the confidence that you have in your present relationship. So like, I know whenever me and my wife were dating, I mean, it was easy to kind of get a crush on somebody, but now that we're like 13 years in and about 9 years of marriage into it, I think I'm more likely to avoid things like that because I've already put so much time and we have such a close relationship.
Yeah, why risk it?
Why even bother? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I totally see that. Have you ever seen House of Cards?
I haven't yet. It's one of those things I'm planning on watching. I don't have Netflix yet, but it's in the works.
Okay. Well, this is only marginally related, but the main characters, the main couple in the show, they tell each other like everything, And I'm not saying they're necessarily a good example, because you'll see when you see the show that they do a lot of really terrible things to people. But,
Yeah, and that, and it's
but I
also
do think it's
scripted.
cool how they're, huh?
I said that, and it's also scripted as well.
Well, yeah, but I do think it's just that aspect, how they're totally direct with each other. I liked that a lot. Something I aspire to with Jack.
Well, that's
Hey,
awesome.
sorry to cut this off. I just realized I do need to go.
I appreciate your inputs, and I'll slice and dice and get you in on the podcast. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome sauce. Well, you have a good rest of your day.
You too. Take care.
Thanks.
Alright, hey guys, what's going
Hey,
on?
we're
back.
back.
Hope you
All right.
liked that
Yep.
awesome conversation between Jared and Monica.
Yep.
So, we're going to go, and we want to start doing this thing where we're reviewing either, like, Jared will pick something, and then I'll pick something.
Yeah, it's a
And
bi-weekly thing.
It's a bi-weekly review. And so, today, Jared
Yep.
wanted to go ahead and... Well,
I'll
go ahead and talk.
All right. Well, thanks. All right. So, yes, we are doing this thing where we're going to do a 15-20 minute review at the end of our podcast each week, and each week we're going to switch off. We're going to do a book. That's two.
That's two.
That's-
I'm done.
Warriors,
come out and play.
I could do that on another
Sorry.
one. Well, basically, we're going to switch off. We'll do like a book, music, a movie.
Yeah.
And that way, and Justin and I would have to actually partake in that person's name. So,
Right.
since I'm doing a movie called M from Fritz Lang,
Yeah.
Justin had to rewatch it, and we're just going to
I
review
watched
it together.
back when I was taking film classes.
Yeah, so it's been a while since he's seen
Yeah.
it. It's been a while since I saw it, and it is.
Dude, I love this movie.
I
Love
love
it.
this movie.
Love it.
So, to give you an overview, this movie was made 1933. Alright, so you're thinking, wow, this is incredibly old. Which, yes, it's flipping
It
old.
was one of Fritz Lang's first sound movies.
Yes, it was actually his first sound movie. He made the movie Metropolis. It's an old science fiction movie some people may remember or have seen recently. But this was, I mean, everybody considers 1939 to be the golden age of movies, which is rightfully so.
Yeah.
I mean, technology came on. But before then, there was this movie, there was still movies being made.
Yeah.
This particular one is about a man who's actually a child murderer.
Yeah.
Which they basically led on to think that he might have done more than just murder the children.
Right, yeah.
But that's hearsay.
That's
But
between you and your
basically,
brain, so.
he his name is Hans Beckert, and he murders children. And at the beginning of the movie, you actually see him pick up another kid to go and murder.
Right.
And basically, the cops are trying to look for him, and in their process of looking for him, they actually start doing raids on clubs and
Yeah.
and basically just all these different rings of mobsters, which is putting a damper on their business. And
Right.
plus, mobsters have kids too, so they're worried about them.
Right.
So basically, they bring in this guy called the Safecracker. That nobody knows his real name because, well, he's just a pretty big, thief.
Criminal Mind, right?
Yeah, he's a very huge criminal mind, so they know him as the Safecracker. And he comes in and he says, "We need to look for this."
Right.
He's like, "We need to find this guy ourselves."
Right.
And so you see, like, it's this whole, you see the police trying to find him.
Yeah.
You see the mobsters trying to find him, and then you see him on a like kind of a day-to-day basis, just
Right.
kind of living his life,
Mm-hmm.
and then trying to pick up other kids and things
Right.
like that. And it's a fascinating movie. Peter Lorre plays the guy who actually does the murdering. He's most known for like his horror movies,
Yeah.
the old ones he used to do with like Vincent Price, Peter Cushing.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And then that is one.
That's one burp for you.
Thank you. And but he also was in Casablanca and a couple other big movies. But he plays this role so flawlessly.
Oh man,
And
especially at the end.
At the end, oh, it's amazing. We don't want to reveal too much for you guys because we whenever we suggest a movie to people, we don't just nonchalantly do it. And if I pick this movie because it's amazing. I mean, if you're into crime dramas, which I love crime dramas,
Right.
I don't like your standard one like NCIS or something like that.
Right.
No, I like The Killing,
Yeah.
The Departed,
Right.
Silence of the Lambs. I
Right.
love crime dramas, especially like Asian crime dramas.
Yeah.
Those guys, awesome. But this started it.
Mm-hmm.
Like some
Much.
people say, this even kick-started the whole noir sort of film.
Yeah.
Movement.
No, I agree. Yeah.
It's black and white, and it's just gritty. It's
Very
dark.
gritty. It's very dark.
I mean, 6 years before they were doing like Gone with the Wind and Wizard of Oz,
Right.
there was these people who were like cussing and they were saying like shit and damn and
Yeah,
they
I
were
was-
spitting at cops.
Yeah, I was quite surprised when I saw this, and I was like, "Wow, man, they were using these cuss words." You know, like one scene where the cop like grabbed this woman and threw her over her shoulder, and she's like, "You bastard, you pig," and started spitting on him, and
Yeah, which is
stuff like
something
that,
that
yeah.
not a lot of people have like.
you don't really see
that
that
didn't catch
old
on in
films.
America for quite some time.
Yeah, so I mean, it's
It wasn't until like Cagney and some of the other ones
Yeah.
that we didn't see like this grit, but they've
Right.
had it. They had it in Germany in
yeah,
1933.
German expressionist.
So unfortunately, some of you will have beef with the fact that it's all in German subtitles.
Yeah.
Don't let that deter you.
No,
I
no.
promise.
I'm telling you, it's so worth it.
But if you love Scorsese, you'll love this.
yeah, you'll love that. Yeah.
It's but just the use of just shots in the movie.
Not just the shots, but what it is what you don't see a lot. I mean, if you know a bit about Fritz Lang, is that he kind of started doing this like social commentary,
Mm-hmm.
you know, films where it's like one side against the other kind of thing, where it's like, you know, the rich against the poor and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was great about this is that I mean, back in the day, I wasn't really paying much attention to it, but when I watched it, I mean, I was fully developed in it, and even Jared was texting me, and he was like, "You watching it?" I'm like, "Shh, I'm watching it right now." Like,
He's immersed.
yeah, I was immersed in it, and it was just the beauty of it was, you know, you got your cops that are doing their job, but not doing it very well. In a way, but then you got like the other side of the spectrum where it's like
Mobsters.
the mobsters and the nobodies, and they had the homeless people.
They had the beggars.
They had the beggars were
Which was
taking part in
genius.
it, which was genius. And you had the other side of it where they were like, let's do this, let's be vigilantes by ourselves. Let's take it into our own power to find this guy,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And it was just, it's such a beautiful piece. And you just, I mean, and it all kind of comes, it like comes in near the end
Oh, yeah.
where you're getting so much emotion.
Yeah, by
from-
the end, it's awesome.
it's pure emotion, and your brain is just going, is just shooting
It's
off.
well, it's firing because I'm not going to reveal too many details
Yeah.
about the end, but it is so back and forth at the end that
Yeah.
you are sitting on the edge of your seat, like what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And so Justin said the social commentary, which is really nice.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a visual person.
Right.
I love the shots. So
Yeah.
like whenever you
Right.
have the beginning
yeah,
where where you see him picking up the girl. She's bouncing a ball off this wall that has a wanted poster
Right.
describing who this guy is, and then all of a sudden you see just his shadow
right.
looking down at the girl, and then all of a sudden it pans down and he's like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Well, my favorite shot was, I don't want to ruin it for you if you're going to say this shot.
Oh, well,
Go ahead.
but I was gonna say, and then you see him take the girl, grab a balloon, and then all of a sudden it just cuts to a shot of this bush, and you see the ball she had just kind of roll away,
Right.
and then it cuts to another shot of the balloon she had just kind of stuck in the electrical line. So you know she's dead.
Yeah, you
they
know.
Didn't show you.
They didn't show you.
They didn't show you him killing her,
Right.
but you know because the ball just rolls away.
Right.
And her balloon's stuck on some electrical wire, and it just flows away.
Yeah, you don't even need to know. But my favorite part, my favorite shot was when he's standing there and he's looking at the window.
Yes.
And you see like a mirror shot, or you see like a mirror, and then you see like the little girl in the mirror reflection, and you see him looking like at the mirror.
Yeah.
But you see his reflection off the window. So it's a
really hard one to explain.
It's a really hard one to explain when you see it, but you see his transformation.
Yeah. He's standing there in front of this
a display window.
Yeah, big shop display window.
Yeah.
There's a mirror in there, and he's looking at these things, and he kind of glances up, and he sees the mirror, and you see his face in the glass.
Yeah.
But then you see a girl he's looking at in the mirror, and you just see his face like fall.
Like it just.
Holy shit!
And you see
that
like
face.
He becomes the beast within.
Yeah,
his demons come out.
Yeah, I mean he's like a normal guy just looking at things, and then all of a sudden, it's like you see that part come out.
Yeah, you see like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde transformation, and it just kind of falls. And one other scene that I like, I mean, like I said, I don't want to ruin it, but it's not ruining anything.
Yeah.
But it's when it was like one of the failed attempts to get the girl, and he's trying to
That was the same scene. That was actually just
right, and he goes to the bar and tries to drink some cognac. Cognac, yeah. And it's like he's trying to battle, like he's having this internal
he's trying
battle.
To dull it.
Yeah, he's trying to dull it, but he's having this like internal battle between the demons and himself. You know what I'm saying? So it's just such.
But he's trying to like drink to kind of shut the voices.
Yeah,
up.
to shut like the voices up. But anyways, I don't want to get too much into this movie, but you gotta see this
people
movie.
Have to see. You can get it from your library. You watched it on.
I watched it on Hulu. It's on Hulu. I think it may be on Netflix, but you can actually also watch it on online. It's one of those free public domain movies, but it's not.
It's not that great.
It's not that great. Like I said, if it's like you want to see it, but you don't have the time, or you don't have you don't want to get up. And you don't want to if you go to the library or you watch it on Hulu, you're getting the Criterion Collection.
Yes, Criterion. You want the Criterion.
Yeah, you want that.
The YouTube version, which a lot of times you could see. I mean, it is considered public domain.
Yeah.
The issue is that the public domain, there was more or less two versions going on. You have the German.
Yeah.
Which was the Fritzling.
Yeah.
And then there was the French one that they had like a secondary director kind of shoot scenes.
Yeah.
And so it's same actors, but they speak French. But the thing is, the shots aren't set up the same.
No.
And they actually played them side by side on this this thing I was watching.
Mm-hmm.
And the French one is far, far less superior with the shots. And the way he was acting, like Peter Lorre, in that particular scene, it wasn't as gripping.
Yeah.
And so that's why if you find a Criterion Collection, which I got mine at my local library down the street.
I watched it on Hulu, and it still has the same exact, like they digitally restored it.
Oh yeah, so
and
it
then
looks much
even
better.
on Hulu that you can find a lot of the interviews and stuff that they did as well. So.
And it has better subtitles. I mean, people were like, well, what's the difference? Believe me, if you've seen a bad subtitled movie, it's atrocious.
Yeah. And maybe if we keep this up, maybe we can get Hulu as a sponsor.
That was, I wouldn't care.
There's some podcasts that have Hulu as sponsors.
They
so
can
that
give
would be
me
fun.
like $10, and I'm like, yes, what's the Hulu?
Yeah. But
Or if they just give me a free Hulu account.
that'd be great. You can have mine. You can have mine.
So with trivia with this movie,
Yeah.
I love movie trivia.
Yeah.
So this movie, the director Fritz Lang was actually Jewish. So if you're thinking Jewish, 1933, that's when actually the Nazi Party was starting
Yeah.
to take power.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
He made it to the premiere of this movie and then jetted. He went straight to California
Smart.
around that time.
Yeah.
And Peter Lorre himself was whatever, half Jewish.
Yeah.
And so he made it 2 more years. He made it to 1935 before they were starting to turn on him, and so he jetted as
Booked
well.
it, right. Yeah.
And he came to America, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
And actually 1/3 of this movie was silent, even though it's a sound movie.
Mhm.
1/3 of it was silent. That way they could save a couple of bucks.
Right, of course.
Go for it.
No,
And
unless you're gonna
oh,
drink
that's
it.
fine. No,
I
you're
was gonna
fine.
dump
Go
it,
for it.
Yeah.
But the way Fritz Lang chooses those silent moments is just awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
He didn't just like toss them in there. No, he actually made them work and make sense for the movie. So like if there was like a chase scene, sometimes it was just silent, just so there was nothing in the background distracting you from, you know, the chasing at hand and things
Right,
like
yeah.
that. It's a really good movie. I suggest everybody watch something like this at least once in their life, especially, like I said, if you like crime dramas.
Yeah.
I love me some crime dramas.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the top of the ones on my list, aside from like Goodfellas. And,
Right, yeah.
I mean,
I
it's a
agree.
mob movie.
It's
And
great.
so, and of course, for a little bit of fun, we thought we would discuss that since it was made quite a bit ago, about 80 years.
Mhm.
What if
they
they
remade it again.
remade it
They remade it again. I know they did a remake.
in 1951, and
I don't wanna
I've
talk about
never
it,
heard
yeah.
of it.
I don't wanna
I
talk
hear
about
it's
it.
pretty bad.
Yeah. But anyways, if they did remake it, who would
Present day.
direct it? Present day, I can kind of see. I want to say
What was your one pick?
my one pick as a director.
Yeah,
As a director, I'd say Spike Lee.
Spike Lee.
Spike Lee, he's got a bit of that social commentary to it, and I can
That's
kind of
true.
see where he would.
I wasn't thinking like that, and he
Oh,
does
okay.
have pretty good scenes.
Yeah.
That's-
With that, yeah. With the angles, I would go more or less Wes Anderson
That's
with
interesting.
the
as well.
angles.
Wes
But
Anderson.
with the social commentary thing, which I was kind of more focused on that, I would say Spike
Spike
Lee.
Lee does good angles.
Yeah,
though.
he does. I mean, he doesn't have
Have you seen Old Boy yet?
the new one. No, I haven't.
I loved it. I don't care
Is
what
it good?
anybody
Okay,
says.
all right.
It's-
Well, if you liked it, then I'll have to see it. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, this is awesome.
Okay, good.
It was well acted, well
Yeah.
shot. Samuel L. Jackson's awesome.
Of
That's
course.
always a given.
Right.
But so who would you think would be a good like safe cracker, like the
Safecracker, I would say either Sam Rockwell would have been good, or John Malkovich.
good one. And what about the killer? I couldn't think of anybody for the killer.
I was thinking, who was hold on, let me look him up real quick. He was in he's in that new show Dads with Seth Green. Robisi.
Oh, Giovanni Ribisi?
Yes, he has a way of getting his emotions. Like I've seen him like in The Gift,
Yeah.
which holy crap, and like a lot of stuff where he just has this way. Oh, and the other sister.
Yeah. Oh, and the other sister
Yeah,
was really
like
good.
he's just the way that he has a way of his emotions. Portraying emotions and showing someone who's kind of sick a little bit.
Or not all there.
Or not all there. Like, he has a way of doing that. So I can kind of see how he would be perfect for that. So,
See, and I had 2 directors in mind.
yeah.
I had Cronenberg, David Cronenberg,
Mhm.
but and for Safecracker, it would totally have to be Viggo Mortensen. Because
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's Viggo only
Yeah.
comes out of acting for David Cronenberg
Right, yeah.
anyway, and he
Yeah.
would make a wonderful Safecracker.
Perfect, yeah.
But if we couldn't get Cronenberg,
Mhm.
then I would say David Fincher.
Yeah. Okay,
David
I can see
Fincher.
Fincher doing that.
And
yeah.
then for Safecracker, I was thinking he would be played really well with Michael Fassbender.
Yeah. That
Because
would've been
he
good.
kind of has that. Michael Fassbender's already done German, obviously, and he kind of has that sort of.
I can kind of see like if Martin Scorsese did that movie,
Which I would like. I
I could see
my
like
hands.
Michael Rappaport being like a good
Interesting.
yeah.
Michael Rappaport. Or even if Scorsese did it, even DiCaprio would be spot on. Because
Right, yeah.
it's DiCaprio.
Yeah.
DiCaprio can do whatever
Yeah.
the hell he wants.
Yeah.
But I think for the killer, I was thinking Ben Foster,
Yeah.
which is kind of on the same
That's
plane.
good. Yeah, yeah. You can do pretty good with that. I agree.
I agree.
So
That's awesome.
awesome.
So
Well,
that is our review.
Yeah.
We're
We're
doing-
about an hour and 18 minutes in.
Yeah. Well, it'll probably go for a little over an hour and a half.
That's fun. Yeah.
All right. So, well, thank you for
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
showing
in.
up on the podcast and listening. Whoever made it this long into it, congratulations.
Right on.
We salute you, and thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for liking us on Facebook.
Yeah. Like us on Facebook.
You could just look us up as Chromosome.
Yeah, the
and,
Chromosome Project or Chromosome.
or just Chromosome.
Yeah, you could do that.
And both of those are ours. You can email us at wearechromosome@gmail.com. Questions, concerns, death threats,
Suggestions, whatever.
death threat suggestions as
Death
well.
threat suggestions or death threat concerns.
My name's Jared Hamline. You
I'm
can
Justin.
look me up on the Facebook or the Twitters.
Yeah.
J-Man Juice over there.
I'm at JManJuice Justin
On the twits.
on Twitter, and then obviously Justin Hamline on Facebook. So
Yep. All right. Well, thank you very
guys
much.
Take it easy.
And one last thing, we
love your
face.
Bye, guys. We love your face.
See ya.
The Chrome Ozone Project.